Welcome to the Journeyman Cave, a podcast where we meet and chat with some of boxing's most seasoned road warriors, hosted by Mark Shakespeare and Chris Scarfe.
Welcome back to the Journeyman Cave, everybody. Here for round 10, and Happy New Year, Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah, round 10, mate. I thought I'd been knocked out by now, do you?
Be tired.
Yeah, but Happy New Year to yourself, mate, as well, and to all the listeners as well.
Yeah, definitely. We should mention, it's exactly a month ago today that we spoke to this episode's guest. Do you want to tell him who it is?
It's Mr. Lee Connelly, mate.
The violent vegan himself.
Most certainly is.
We were looking forward to this. Well, I think we both were. And he, just for context, he had his last fight a week after we saw him, and that was his 99th, and he's retired. Quite a career. And you've seen him since as well?
Yeah, he lost his last fight, unfortunately, against James Flint. I very, very close, and it could have gone either way. Yeah, a good way to go out on 99, and I loved his T-shirts. I'm hoping to get one of them.
Yeah, I've seen them. We need to get one of them each.
Yeah, and I've seen him since we met him. I've been to his retirement do with all the guys from Manor Boxing, and I'd like to thank Cash Same for inviting me to their Christmas do / leave retirement. It was really good. It was great to catch up with Carl Sampson as well, and thank you for the invite. Yeah,
brilliant. Speaking of Lee, really intelligent and thoughtful lad, I thought. You won't think he'd had 99 fights.
One of the nicest and smartest guys you'll ever meet. He's very humble, and he definitely taught us something about veganism, didn't he? Yeah,
we got into that. Very interesting as well. I suppose rather than be talking about it here, shall we just get him in and let him do it himself?
Come on, let's get Lee in.
Right, so Lee, what we like to do, or I like to do particularly, is I like the nicknames of boxers. Yeah. And I've known about yours for a while because you've been mentioned a few times, so I think we'd best get straight into it. The Violent Vegan. Who coined that one?
Well, I've been vegan for a while now, about 6.5 years, but I've never had a nickname all the way through my career, and I've thought about different names like Lights Out, Lee Connelly, but I thought I can't punch, so I can't have that one. And then I was on a show at Magna, actually, and Phil, the MC that does a lot around here, and he came in the changing rooms. He said, "Have you got a nickname?" I said, "No, but make one up if you want."
Yeah.
And then he said, "No, I won't do that. I don't want to make one up." And then when I got in the ring, he just announced me as the Violent Vegan. So obviously he'd gone away and been thinking, and he'd thought of that nickname, and he called it me that night. And then I think the couple of days after, it was on BoxRec then, and it's been my official nickname ever since. So.
Yeah.
It's one of the best, isn't it?
Definitely. It's up there.
Along with Stay for Chuck Norris.
Yeah. That's the
them
favourite.
Two.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure making your T-shirts, your two. Yeah. But it's amazing that MCs, do give nicknames sometimes.
It's come up a couple of times, hasn't it, now? People have had that.
I mean, Mike Connelly, you've seen Mike Connelly knocking about MC, haven't you?
Yeah. I think he did actually give me one. Is he down in London? Is he?
No, he's Bridlington now, actually.
Is he? Yeah, well, I'm sure I was at your call, and he gave me one sometime, but it never stuck because he didn't go on BoxRec. But yeah, he said he gave me a nickname anyway, and he announced me as that. And it's always good to have a nickname; makes it more interesting for the fans, doesn't it?
Well, now we've got Jake Pollard, the Yorkshire Warrior, because of him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we've got Nabil as a Batley Bulldog now, haven't we? So we've got two there now, named up. So what made you become vegan then, mate?
Well, I thought about it for a while, to be honest. Before I actually ever went vegan, I thought about, the health side, and with boxing and making weight. I was yo-yoing up and down in weight all the time near the beginning, and I was thinking I need to sort this out. So I was looking at what you could do to just sustain a low weight. Veganism came up on some doctor on YouTube. I was following him and following all the health reasons behind it. And I thought that sounds good, but then I tried it and I could never stick to it, to be honest. And then probably a year or 2 years after that, I started looking more into the ethical side of it, because I always had it in the back of my mind. And once I'd seen what happens to the animals and everything, I thought, I can't not go vegan now.
Yeah.
And obviously your wife and your son as well are vegan, aren't they, as well, which is really good.
Yeah, I went to my missus and she'd been vegetarian on and off, and she loves animals. She's always had pets and whatever. And I said to her, you know what, I'm really thinking about going vegan, but for ethical reasons, for the animals, you know, and what do you think? And she said, yeah, I agree. And then we just looked at, you know, what you can and can't eat and had a big chat about it, and we decided that's the way we were going to go, and that we'll bring our lad along with us on the journey and just tell him, you know, to have things like pigs have to die and whatever. And he himself didn't want to, you know, be part of that. So it just kind of happened naturally between the three of us.
Yeah, it's great, mate. That's good to hear.
I've always struggled with, especially ethical side.
Yeah,
I do make a lot when I make my own food and stuff for work. I do often, it'll be meat free, it'll be, you know, beans and pulses and stuff like that. But I'm a bit of a picky eater as well. So like restaurants and that, I think I'd struggle even worse. But I suppose, what did someone once said to me, if you're hungry enough, you'll eat it.
Yeah, well, that's it. And 6.5 years ago, it was difficult being vegan, eating out, especially, you know, cooking at home, that was fine. But eating out, you couldn't get many options. And now it's like everywhere, all the big franchise places offer vegan options. It's very easy now to find those options when you're out and about. It's just more of the mental side of connecting your ethical beliefs with your physical actions, and also, you know, just thinking it's fine not to have meat with every meal, you know, that I used to do at one stage, thinking about protein, being a boxer and everything. It seemed to be a big thing, and I thought, I'm putting too much importance on that. It's not as big of a deal as to make out.
Yeah, well, that's good to know, mate. And that's, I'm same as I'm not really much a big meat eater. I don't think I could go vegan, but you know what I mean? I understand why people do. So I want to talk first, mate, about your debut in our great town, wasn't it?
Yeah, long time ago that. I just put it on my social media, actually, that it was 10 years ago. I mean, it was 10 years ago in 5 days, actually. But,
wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, 10 years ago at the Metrodome, because I'm with Carl Greaves, and he never had many Sheffield fighters, so he never put a show on in Sheffield. The closest one was Barnsley. So I had my debut on that, you know, when I first realised what the sport's all about, selling the tickets and being in with a tough journeyman myself, that Ryan McNichol from Glasgow. I always remember the debut, you know. It never got filmed, I don't think. That's a shame. I never got to watch it back, but as I remember, I performed quite well and, you know, sold about 70 tickets, and which was good for me because, you know, I never had big groups of friends or anything, so 70 tickets and had a successful debut.
Yeah, that's great, mate. I mean, it says, start off with a win, and like I said, Carl, I can't thank Carl enough for what he did to bring boxing to Barnsley. I mean, he had the Barnsley Bens, didn't he? Yeah,
I know both Bens, because at one stage I trained with Ben Davis.
Yeah.
When he was training in Sheffield, and I'd sparred Ben Wager a couple of times, you know, big, strong kid, wasn't he? I think we even got matched to box at one stage, but, you know, for whatever reason, we didn't. But yeah, I know of the Barnsley Bens, and, you know, Sheffield and Barnsley, it's not that far, is it?
It's not. No, it's not too far away, mate. We're all friends, aren't we?
Yeah.
Did you do any amateur stuff?
Yeah, so I had 5 amateur bouts with Ronnie Tucker when he was at Answorth. I started boxing quite late, probably about 18, and I probably had my first amateur bout at 19, and I went to an amateur gym within the space of 9 months from starting training to finishing. Just a 9-month period, I had those 5 bouts, won 4, lost 1, and that was a good experience.
So you didn't set off to be on road then, did you, with that?
No. I mean, I was always a boxing fan growing up, and I was shy. I was very shy at school, and I used to get bullied and things. And going to a boxing gym was never... I didn't even know of any boxing gym, so it was only once I got my own car, started working, that I could find one and drive to one. So I started boxing quite late, but, you know, I kind of threw myself in the deep end. I just wanted to fight straight away, even though I didn't have the skills, and I was getting beat up by 15-year-olds that, you know, knew how to box twice as good as me, and I was an 18-year-old man, is what I thought, and getting my head punched in at an amateur gym. But then, you know, I turned it around. I won my first 4, lost my last one of those, and then stopped for a couple of years again.
And then started, and here we are now, a week tomorrow for the big finale, mate, is it?
Yeah.
99, my favourite number.
99, my special number, because everyone's saying do 100.
Yeah.
Do 100, and I've heard that ever since I've been on about 81 bouts. You should do 100, you should do 100. And, you know, some of it's coming from boxers, some of it's coming from just your general, you know, people that I work with and whatnot. And I just thought, you do 100, you know, you do 100 fights and then come and tell me I should do 100. You know, it's not good for you getting punched in the head, and I'm never going to cover up and run away. So 100 fights for me is a lot of punishment. So I thought I'm going to make a point of just doing 99, you know.
I know when I went to see you at gym and you said 99, I thought, that's something I'd do, because I'm always different.
Yeah.
Completely different to anybody else.
I just have to make a point. Everyone's telling me to do 100, so I'm going to say I'm not. I'm just going to do 99. And hopefully that irritates people just enough to, you know, to stop saying it.
That phone's never going to stop ringing, mate.
Brilliant. Oh, yeah.
And it's against Mr. Flint, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, rematch.
Yeah, rematch. Yeah, I boxed him about roughly 3 years ago on Steffi's show in Doncaster Dome, I think. Got a draw. That was just a 4-rounder. This is a 6. So obviously, you know, he must have think that he's improved over those years. And, you know, I'll have to admit, I've probably declined, you know. I've probably got worse and a little bit older and more tired, but I'll still give him a good fight.
Oh, you always do, mate. You always do.
Well, I'll see what I can do, you know. The amount I train nowadays and the effort I put into the sport, I shouldn't be able to win. But sometimes I surprise myself, because when the night comes and someone's hitting me, I'm going to just give it my best go anyway. But I've not really put myself in the best position to be fit enough or sharp enough. But on the night, I'll give it a good go anyway.
Yeah, I bet you get that sometime when you're going with somebody first round or two and you think, I fancy this. You just fancy a bob, don't you? And you never know. Well, we'll wish you good luck for that, mate. We'll try and get over.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Definitely, mate. And then we'll move on to somebody who I do like, who gets mentioned quite a lot on your shirt ringing me here. Oh, Masha Dodd.
Yeah, he's a really nice fella, Masha Dodd. See, that was early in my career as well. I was seeing the first couple of years me boxing, I was putting 100% into every fight. And I was thinking, I'm not going to let anyone beat me. I was trying my best to win, even though I soon realised, you know, I'm not as experienced or skilled enough to be winning them all. But me and Masha Dodd had a good 4-round tear up, and then spoke to him after, and he's one of the nicest blokes you could meet.
I'd like to meet Masha. He's come through a lot, hasn't he, in his life, and you know, he's done all right. Has he finally finished now?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard about him for a bit, but he did very well, didn't he?
He did.
Because I had such a close fight with him, I didn't think he'd go on and have the success that he did, but you know, I'm really pleased that he was successful in many of his fights that he had and progressed further than I thought he would.
Well, he did that. He had that big derby, didn't he, with Tom Stalker and bet him, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that was his moment in the sun there. Like that. I do like Sean, but good luck to him at rest up. Like I said, if he's still fighting up, we'll have to find that out, really. And then another one. You fight so many, mate, you have. My good lads who I used to like to follow.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Appleby as well, mate.
Paul Appleby, again, in my first year, the first time boxing on TV. So that was a massive opportunity for me. Probably one of my fondest memories boxing, in terms of just the pure excitement of suddenly I've gone from being a boxing fan, and I remember watching Appleby against, what was his name, Liam Walsh? They had that tear up at York Holding. I remember watching that on TV before I ever knew I was going to go pro, so I knew of him anyway. And a lot of people thought I beat Appleby that night.
That's not bad. It's in that fight, mate. It's on YouTube.
It's not on YouTube. It's on. There's that other one, isn't there?
Oh God, that's just Scarfe. That is more into socials.
I'll find it for you. I'll find it for you. But a lot of people thought I beat him that night, and I remember on the build up to that, because I'd had a few losses on the road my first year, and he had a bunch of his friends go on Twitter and say, look at your record and look at Appleby's, and he's a former British champion and that he's going to knock you out. And I just said, we'll see. And we had loads of them saying it. And then after, no one said anything. And obviously people were saying that I'd won. Glenn McCrory had me winning it on the commentary and everything. And then after that is when I got the Campbell fight, because originally that night I was supposed to fight Campbell.
Yeah.
That got cancelled. They put me on against Appleby last minute. And Eddie Earn said to me in the hotel, I saw him in the hotel, he said, if you come through this one well, if you put in a good performance, I'll still let you have the Campbell fight, which I was very excited for after that.
Yeah, which one after that, wasn't it? And what do you reckon to him, mate, Mr. Campbell?
Good, very good, yeah. Obviously, I knew he was good. Olympic gold medals, they don't just hand them out for note, do they? You know...
Listen, the man in Olympic gold medal, if he stops there, mate, he must be a good one.
Yeah, that's it.
Not many do they?
No.
But yeah, another one who never got that world title, did he, bless him?
No, when you think who he had to fight for it, you know, Linares, Lomachenko, it's like the pound for pound kind of listers instead of your general world champion.
Any other era, he'd have definitely won a world title, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he took the difficult route, and I think that's because he believed in his skills, and obviously against Linares he had a close fight. But yeah, he was good. Just a very good boxer. Retired before me, didn't he?
Yeah, but like you said, he had
his go.
He had his go, and I used to enjoy it. But like you said, any other time I think he would have done. But there's some top class lads around, like you just mentioned.
Yeah, or just
time.
A different weight. You know, it's one of the toughest weights, isn't it?
And then we had Andy Townend after that, didn't we? Our lad.
Oh, Andy, yeah.
Yeah.
I boxed Townend a shot at the Central Area title. That's a tough man to fight for an area title, but I was an away fighter, but, you know, I still had a lot of ambition at that stage. So, you know, I got that opportunity to fight him. Super featherweight, which I really struggled to make the weight. I did everything on my own, the diet, the making weight, in the sauna, all that, and I was pretty drained on the night. You know, I never rehydrated properly, recovered properly. But I mean, he is a big puncher. But
definitely,
I've sparred him. I've fought him, and I've got a good chin. I'm known for taking a good shot. You know, Campbell did 5 rounds with him. He never put me down. Many other good fighters and big punchers. And I did feel that I was very weak on that night. You know, I got hurt with body shots, went down 3 times, never gave up trying, but obviously, again, got stopped in the 5th.
But like you said, mate, we just mentioned there 3 names all at the beginning of your career.
Yeah.
Some fighters that, mate, isn't it? And then it don't get any easier when that gets Glenfoot after.
Glenfoot, that was a tough night.
Do you know what? With Glenfoot, we had Ryan Hardy in, you know, and I'm gutted that I forgot to ask him.
Oh, see, when Ryan Hardy fought Glenfoot, I was actually on that show anyway, and I remember Glenfoot walking through into the venue, and he turned to Ryan Hardy because he knew he was boxing him, and he said, "You're getting it tonight, mate." He said, "You're getting it," and Ryan Hardy just laughed at him, just completely laughed at him. And which I found funny. And then Ryan Hardy just tormented him. You know, he was his worst nightmare, to be honest, because that's what Ryan's good at, winding people up, making things awkward. You know, I was friends with him, trained with Ryan, and he used to wind me up.
Yeah, he said you were a gypsy, didn't he? Got the thing.
He's told me about this article,
I used to spar him and try and knock his head off because I'd find him that irritating. But that's the worst thing that you can do. That's exactly what he wanted, you know, but I used to buy into it and fall for his tricks then. And
well, he were a proper hard man when he was fought. And right, and I said he was in a bit of a rush at the time when he come. That's why into were a bit shorter because with Ryan. But he did say when he fought Glenfoot that Glenfoot tried to get into his head. Yeah. And he says it's the only time, apparently on the way in, he said he just come in with these 4 or 5 massive blokes. Yeah. And he says, Ryan said, I saw these 4 or 5 massive blokes just walk through the door at weigh-in. And he says, I didn't see foot. He said, all of a sudden, these 5 massive blokes just parted. Yeah. And there was a Glenfoot there with his lad art. Just completely started.
Oh, no. All right.
Saying, come on.
Yeah,
let's have it.
I didn't know about that bit.
Yeah, well, he's told me that. And I wonder if you were there at weigh-in. Because that's the one thing I forgot to ask
I must have been at the weigh-in, but now I don't remember that. But when I boxed Glenn, I mean, he had about half a stone on me anyway.
Yeah.
I'm a smaller guy than Glenfoot. I did 6 rounds with him. I had a cold. Andy Marlowe, my trainer at the time, has recently put a post on his social media saying about how I was ill. The doctor was asking me if I had asthma because he was listening to my lungs. I was like really bunged up, not really in the best position to be fighting someone like him who was a very rough, tough, hard man. He's probably the only person that I've been in where I thought he's rougher than I can handle, really. But I did 6 rounds with him, took everything off him, headbutts, elbows, low blows, and some good big right hands as well. But he couldn't get me out, you know.
No. But yeah, well, I'll never forget that story that Ryan told me. I'm just sorry I didn't get it on podcast that day.
Oh, well, it's there now.
Yeah, it is now. Five big men partying and Glenn Foot there with his lad out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they told me. Didn't you get a couple of questions?
Well, I know we've already touched on Andy, but I messaged Andy to let him know that we were seeing you, and I said, if there's what you want to pass on or ask, and he just said he wanted to. Obviously, you're stopping at 99, and he said he's passing on his best for you, in your retirement and that. We were going to see him last week, weren't we? But it didn't happen. We didn't find out until too late where we were working. Oh, right. And we've also had one in from, I think he's your gym buddy, is Carl Sampson.
Oh yeah.
He says he wants to know who's done most miles in ring this year.
Who's done most miles in ring, right? Well, he's asking that because every time he's in boxing news or any write-up about him, they're saying how much he runs around ring.
Right.
And I've just got the boxing news from last one, because we both boxed on the same weekend but different shows, and it said Adam Cope, who was boxing, he said I had to run like Mo Farah to try and catch Carl Sampson, who rings around ring. But he's actually a very good runner, Carl. So I think that's why he's got such good feet in the ring and movement, and he's quick, and people struggle to pin him down. But yeah, he's always accused of running, just purely running away.
Well, his time's coming. He's coming on. I was going to see him yesterday again, but another one, it's getting round to seeing him. He was busy again with work, and I think he's fighting again tomorrow.
Yeah, he's getting a few fights in now, yeah.
But it's good to see him back.
Well, I think he had a few setbacks because he come off some wins, and now he's got a loss. He's getting a few more jobs in again. So he'll just have to be careful he don't win too many. But yeah, he's good. He's a good boxer, and you don't get many on the road that have got that kind of footwork and movement. And he was a good amateur, and obviously coming from a boxing family that he does, he's got that experience and those skills that some of these journeymen are coming off the unlicensed circuit, or the boxing much over the natural weight, and then they're just slower and whatever. Was Carl's always in good shape, fit, and a good mover.
He is a very, very dangerous. He's probably the most dangerous, I think, now, mate. Along with, I know Richard Elms having a couple of problems, but I also think Richard Elms is quite a danger as well, and hopefully when he sorts himself out, like with a couple of problems he's having, I wish him all the best. I think he'll be one to watch him when he comes back in January as well. Yeah. I think him and Carl are the two that they're always going to be in for a fight. Like you all do, to be fair, mate. But I think they're the up-and-coming ones now. I think they're the two now to watch out for. Yeah, Richard Elm's got some skills, hasn't he? And that's the thing. A lot of prospects, they're just expecting someone to stand in front of them and take the punches, and some do, but I'm always being aggressive and firing back, and Carl's different because he's not giving them a chance to set the feet and just unload punch after punch like they're in a punch bag. And Richard Elm, I've seen him box a couple of times, not too much, but he's got his little shoulder roll and is a bit unorthodox, and that just throws it off for these prospects that are just used to having a punch bag in front of them. Yeah, and he'll be back in June. Yeah, I know he will be, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back. Did Wayne Reid ask you something? Yes, well, you just mentioned unlicensed. Did you do some unlicensed stuff? Yes, I did. So, like I say, I only had 5 amateur, and then I come away for a couple of years. I ended up breaking my hand, so I had no choice but to not box for a couple of years. And then I thought, I don't want to just leave my boxing at just having those few amateurs, so I'll get back into it. And I started training at a gym, and there were a few unlicensed fighters there. I don't think Wayne was boxing on him, but he was helping with the running of the shows and whatever. And I was sparring kids and doing really well. So I had a few unlicensed fights, some away, some I couldn't even sell tickets for them unlicensed fights, and you don't have to sell as many for them. But so I had a few of them at home, and then some away. I ended up having about 8. Lost a couple of them, but some good kids, because it's got a bad rep, the unlicensed scene. And obviously there is some very poor boxing on it, and it's not regulated and not the safest. The weights are different and whatnot. But I ended up having some, good fights on it that just little bridge to go into the pros, Oh, I've done them, haven't they? He said to mention Tommy Bradley. Tommy Bradley. Rest in peace. He passed away, but he used to fight for the Ingalls and trained with Prince Nazim, and so he was running a gym, Tough Guys gym, and I was matched with one of his guys, and he just didn't turn up on the day to box me. So
Tommy, about a stone heavier and about 40 years old, bear in mind, but he's very fit, always trained and everything, turned up to fight me instead. And they said, do you want to box an ex-pro Tommy Bradley? He's about stone heavier, but his kid hadn't turned up, so it's either box him or don't box. I said, I don't care who I'm boxing, I just want to fight. And we had a proper tear up for 4 rounds. And the gear to draw, I mean, I always thought I edged it, but it don't matter. He stepped in last minute. Yeah. The gear to draw, and I wasn't a skilled, experienced boxer at that time, but we just had a good scrap. And he was a nice guy. Died in a motorbike accident.
That's sad to hear.
Yeah, his brother boxers, and then I trained with Robbie Sivier, who used to be Tommy's best friend as well. So there's them connections there between people we know and whatnot.
Yeah, stories like that, mate. You don't forget stories like that, do you, mate?
No.
And then, like you said, we'll move on to a couple more. There's one you might not remember much about him, but the one I used to watch, I think he's just come back onto boxing scene now, Mitchell Smith.
Yeah, I do remember
strange
that one.
Isn't it?
It is a strange one. I do remember that. I mean, I used to watch him coming through and thinking, he's arrogant and I don't like him. And then I met him and I thought exactly the same. He's a prick. But he does that to wind people up. I think deep down he's a nice kid, and we got on afterwards, and he said how tough I am. And he's always had the talent and the skill, and could punch pretty hard and all that. But I think he struggles with his life outside of boxing, which affects it. But that was on a good show. It was on Gervonta Davis versus Liam Walsh undercard. Mayweather turned up later that night, but I've never been one for getting pictures with other boxers and that. I might regret it later, but I thought, I'm not going to wait for Mayweather to come try and get a picture. I never took a picture with Gervonta Davis or his entourage. I thought, I'm boxing on this show as much as they are, and kind of had that mentality where I don't want to be like asking for pictures and things. But yeah, I got through 6 rounds with him, but it was tough. I give him a decent fight, but yeah, he was a good fighter.
Yeah, and I think he is. I'm sure he's had a couple of fights this year and he's come back.
Yeah. I think he always struggled with his weight, so I don't know how low he's got down, and is he boxing pro or?
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
There were an interview him a few weeks back I listened to, and I thought, I'm just going to mention that fight to you. I wonder what you thought on him, because I just thought he had a bit of something about him.
Yeah, he definitely did. I didn't think he was, because he's only small. He's only quite small, but he hit quite hard and he cut the ring off really well. So after boxing him, I had more respect for him, and he was nice after boxing him. Before, he was just being a pain, a bit of a wind-up, but then afterwards I thought, no, he just does that to frustrate people.
As long as he leaves it in the ring and don't be a dickhead out of it, that's all you want in it.
Yeah, that's it.
And then we've got legends, mate, and we've got proper legends here. And I'm going to mention a win for you against Christian Lake.
Yeah, Christian Lake. We just filled in a show up for that one. The fights were falling through on Scott Lawton's show.
Right.
And he's a nice guy, he's a good promoter. I used to be a good fighter, then British champion. But yeah, they were just running low on fights because they had a few pull out, and they said, can we put you and Christian on, just split one purse between you and box each other. And I thought, yeah, fair enough. But then he's got a lot of experience on me, and he had Peggy in his corner shouting to do this and do that, and I thought, no, they've coming for a win as well, because I've got losses, but he don't get many wins either, so they're coming to win, and he's using all that experience and his tricky southpaw stance to try and edge me out on these rounds. So it ended up actually being a really, really tough fight just on my cardio. I had to just keep working and to just edge the rounds out, and only ended up beating him by a point, and which he said was fair after. But he said the same as me after we spoke, and he said that's tougher than boxing the prospects, because when you're both trying to win and using that experience you've got, and we were getting tired, and he was decent.
He had a few tricks, didn't he?
Oh, he had a lot of tricks, and that's what was throwing me off. And it's completely different to boxing these prospects.
And then we go a bit further on, mate, here, and there's two. Well, one didn't do as well as we thought at the time, but you had Scott Cardle, didn't you?
Yeah, Scott.
What did you reckon to Scott Cardle?
Well, again, I never thought it was spectacular.
Yeah.
And obviously he come off some losses, fights that you would have expected him to win. But again, and that's why I always feel that my level, if I'd done everything correct and trained properly, I could have been that sort of British title level, you know, because I was in with former British champion Paul Appleby. Most people thought I beat him. And then I had a short notice, you know, 4 days notice or something to box Scott Cardell. Again, I didn't feel well that night. I was a bit unwell. And when you're boxing as regular as I am, obviously you get a cold and flu and whatever from time to time. And I don't like to pull out a fight, so I just do them anyway. And I wasn't feeling great that night. But, you know, MEN Arena on a big show, it was Crawler and that's Scottish.
Burns.
Yeah, Burns fight. So it was a good show to be on, and you know I held my own easily for 6 rounds with him. Landed some cracking left hooks. I clearly lost, but you know I had my own success in that fight, and was never out my depth against him.
I bet it was a good experience. So I bet it was a buzzing men's arena.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, probably, and it was pretty full at that time that I boxed him as well on that show. So,
so you got a decent time then.
Yeah.
That's good. But then you did fight a belter after that, didn't you? We talked to Andy about him as well, Joe Cordina.
Yeah.
Quite class, isn't he?
Oh, class, yeah. I think he's the only one that's gone on and won a world title that I boxed. Again, I mean, that I wasn't as ambitious at that stage in my career anyway, and I wasn't training as much, I wasn't as sharp, but that came at like the worst time for me because I just wasn't training. I'd had a busy year up until that point. And I said to my missus, right, when December comes, I'm just going to have December not boxing and just enjoy Christmas. And that was quite a late show. I'm sure it was something like the 20th of December or something that. It was a late one. So I'd done no training for about a month and 24 hours notice to box someone at that level, you know, with no training. I initially said no. They were begging and pestering me because he had a Mexican opponent fly in and fail a medical or something, so it was last minute. So I took the fight. I never blown up much overweight since being vegan, you know, that keeps my weight low. So I were able to just take the fight. And yeah, it was good. Just fast, sharp, decent power. Yeah. I couldn't really hit him with much, but again, I'd not trained much. And then I got a cut on my eyelid about the 4th round, actually on my eyelid, and I couldn't see properly. I don't know if blood was getting in my eye or what, but it had me worried because all my vision in that eye went black, and then I was just taking shots. And Robbie Sivia tried pulling me out in the corner, and I was like, no, and I pushed him to the side, and I come out for the next round, and he always moans at me for that one because he said Tony Bellew on the commentary was saying, oh, you can't let your fighter push her out the way and override you, and I think he was a bit unsure because I was like, no, don't stop it, and then he was kind of trying to but not fully committing, and then I saw him pick the towel up in the 5th to throw it in, so I just started throwing loads of bombs back at Cordina just to rally out the end. So then he put the towel down. Oh no, I don't know if he was waving it, but the referee ignored it, and then you know I was trying to just fight back, and he just put it on me and put loads of shots together. Referee jumped in, stopped it, but which is fair, you know, fair enough. But
yeah, but like I says, hope we got a good paycheck for that, mate.
Yeah, it was decent.
Good.
It was decent, but again, I just felt a bit pressured into it. But you know, I don't regret doing it or anything.
Never
you know,
regrets,
it's just
mate.
It would have been nice to have training, especially being in with someone like that.
Well, you're throwing bombs at Joe Cordina, you're going to get caught, mate, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it.
Unless
yeah.
you're some kind of superstar.
That's it. Just too fast and sharp.
Not a superstar to us, though, Lee, mate.
Oh, nice one, mate. Well, you know, Cordina, he sparked that guy out in the 2nd round, didn't he, to win his world title, and
yes,
he never got me down. So I thought I've not done bad to take all them shots off him.
Was that on Sky then? That?
Yeah, it was at the York Hall, but yeah, it was a Sky show near Christmas time that year.
Now, if I hadn't mentioned it, me and Scarfe usually likes to ask this. Who were your hardest fight, mate?
Hardest fight? I mean, I've always said it all the way through, probably Campbell, because I could say someone like Cordina, which I felt out my depth, you know. There's only a few times that I've been in with people and felt out my depth, and Cordina was one, but I'd not trained at all for it. Whereas Campbell, I was excited for that fight, and I trained like crazy as much as I could. I was working full time at the time, and my missus was pregnant, but I was training as hard as I could for that fight. and got myself into a position where I thought I'm going to cause a big upset. I know I'm expected to lose, you know. I'm not daft. I know he's a lot better skill-wise than me, but I'm going to try my best to just take everything he can throw at me and you know, hopefully come on strong later on and make something happen. So I always say that was my toughest, because then after I took a lot of punches, I had concussion. I had to go to the hospital and check for that. I didn't have a bleed on the brain and everything. So it was just tough in that way, you know, building yourself up to try and win a fight like that.
Yeah.
And then taking all that punishment and getting hurt and, you know, realising it don't matter how hard you try, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough.
They can be deflating, them ones, can't they?
Yeah.
Now, another one, still going now, don't see much about him. He likes to get on his social media and that. I don't know what you thought of him when you fought him. Dean Dodge.
Dean Dodge, yeah. I mean,
Diablo.
A strange one, that. A strange one. Where does he live, He was fought right down...
Other side somewhere.
Right down south.
Yeah,
right down south somewhere in a little town.
Yeah.
Anyway, I fought him and I hurt him with a body shot in second round or something. Really, he dipped with body shot and winded him, and I thought, all right, I might have him here. And then he started throwing a load of shots back, so I thought I'll just let him tire himself out. Now, the thing is, I'm not going to accuse him of anything, because I don't know. But the gloves that we got given were his gloves that he brought. Right. They hardly had any padding in them. Hardly had any padding in them. But I just thought, oh, I'll just wear them, whatever. You know, some old knackered geezers. And he cut me with a shot. Now, if we'd had some proper gloves on, that cut might not have happened. Yeah. But he had a big gash over my left eye. And then he kept hitting it, and blood pouring out. But I'd still remembered I'd hurt him with that body shot the round before, and I'm thinking I'm going to turn it back around and get him. And then they got me to see doctor, and I had a right gash above the eye, and they just stopped it on cut. But so he's all right. Yeah. But he's to me, he had a sense of vulnerability where I thought I could have been in that fight to win it. I got caught, and you know, and he put it on me then, and the cut opened up even more, and doctor stopped it. So
yeah, he likes to put himself out on social media, does Dean, like, and he's definitely a character.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad kid. He's just, you know, it's just the way he does things. And the fact of the matter is, it's a bit of a popularity contest, you know, boxing, because it's not just about how good you are. You've got to sell yourself and sell them tickets. And unless you're a big name coming out at Olympics or whatever, sometimes that's the way they make it work, you know, just by going on social media and making himself a bit of a character.
He does right what he does, and wish him all the best, lad. I thought I mentioned that one. And then a Sheffield lad. I'll probably say his name wrong because I'm terrible at saying names. Levi Kinsona. Do you see much of him? He did a bit of a bad time this year, I think, can't he?
Yeah, I don't see much of him. Is he with Dave Allen?
I think he's still with Dave Allen, yeah.
Yeah, he seems a decent kid and everything.
Because he had a bit of a beef where that Appleby fight went a bit sour, didn't it? With that 3-rounder and that prize fight, I think.
Yeah.
I think he regretted saying what he said, which is fair enough, and it's good that he's come out and said that. I just wondered
what did he say? I don't pay much attention to these kind of things.
A bit too far, saying he wanted to kill him and that, I think. We're just in the heat of the moment and stuff, and there were no malice in it. And I just wondered the reason I didn't mention that, I just wondered, we've been around Sheffield, if you see him about and if we're all right, really. And I wonder if you saw him.
Yeah, I don't really see him about much, and I don't know him well. I don't know how to take the guy personally, but he's never done it wrong to me. He never said it wrong about me. I didn't really know about him saying that stuff.
I think he did say something like, I could be quoted wrong, but I think he did I think he apologised afterwards, which was good on him. I just wonder, like I said, I want no malice in asking. I just wonder if you knew him, because I ain't seen him fight him for a while. I wonder if we've only been about 8 or 9 fights, and if you knew what he was still going or not. Like, no. And then obviously you had Askin's son, didn't you?
Yeah,
Anton.
Yeah. Carl's been in with him recently since I fought him.
Has he?
But I'd seen him on a show that I was on against Michael Mooney, and I'd been told that I might be boxing him, so I thought I'll go and have a look. And he was throwing everything at Mooney, smashing him with body shots, and it looked pretty tasty, to be honest. Quite tall, rangy, and flash, and that. And so I was a bit worried about that fight because he looked like he could punch. And then I went in with him. He was in like an underground car park, a bit strange, really. They said, the venue's just down there. I walked down the slope. It's just a underground car park.
Fight club.
Look, somewhere like you'd be seeing bare knuckles going off or something. Not a pro boxing show, but I got through 6. Was it 4 or 6? I think with him. Got through 6 with him because he's more about being flash than really causing the damage. So he could punch pretty well, but he admires his own work, and I got through 6 easy with him.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the underground car park, expecting to walk out and it's like bales of hay or something.
You should have seen. I couldn't believe it when I seen it. I thought walking under there to walk through a door to get indoors, and no, it's just down the ramp, underground car park. Freezing cold,
Oh, God. It's just strange. I've never seen it like that before.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And I did say I'd mention him as well, and I'm going to mention him. Jimmy the Fist.
Jimmy the Fist, he's an hard man. He's got a bit... One of the hardest men over 40 that there is knocking about.
Oh, definitely.
Didn't Jake mention him?
Yeah, sometimes does Jake's corner, doesn't he? He likes to... I think he just loves being it, mate.
You know what, he's an animal. Because I went into that fight thinking, he's old. Obviously, he's determined and he tries, and he just come off actually that first or second round knockout, that Justin Newell, who I thought was good. I boxed him as well, and I thought, he's a good rangy boxer. He'll struggle to win that, and he knocked him clean out, and I thought, he must be able to punch a bit. And I went in with him, and he was heavy-handed. But I could land some of my own shots back. But like you say, every time I hit him, then he just came back and didn't give me a chance to land another shot, because I was landing some good shots, and it just spurred him on. He just came forward more and more, and I just couldn't stop him. It was a tough fight for me, that, because he's heavy-handed and he don't stop throwing.
He's a powerhouse, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's a nice guy as well.
Yeah, he is.
I thought, is he just being nice just so, to keep things peaceful before we box? But no, he were nice before and he were nice after. He's just a genuinely good bloke.
Yeah, I messaged him last night, actually. He did say, if you put him in anywhere near that top 10.
Look, I can't put him in top 10, but he's got the number 1 spot for anyone over 40, so...
Do you know what? I think he'll take that, mate.
Yeah. Hey, look, he's not in top 10, but he is... He's good. He's good, and he's an hard puncher, and he's an animal. If you're wrong kind of boxer being in with him, you're going to get hurt.
Did he talk to you in ring when you were hitting him?
I can't remember a bit, because what he done is he caught me with a cracking right-handed hand over top, and me being daft like I am sometimes, I put my hands down and I said, "Go on then," another one, and he caught me with another flush right hand. And I thought, I don't know why I'm doing this, because obviously my brain's rocking about. It's no good for me, but at least I know I can take a shot. And we probably had a little bit back and forth, but not much. Like I said, he's very respectful, nice bloke.
He's a gentleman here, but like I said, I've heard a few people say that he's one of the few people, he just thrives on being it. He likes to be. He makes him. He buzzes. And I would like to meet him one day. I think I'm going to Halifax to see him soon.
Yeah.
I think he might be. I don't think he'd come on our podcast though, mate, could he?
I don't know.
He's got a winning record, hasn't he?
Oh,
Scarfe might have him on his own.
Yeah.
But he wants to.
So you're finishing on 99?
Yeah.
Are you going to keep your hand in sport, or?
Well, possibly. I mean, I've been asked by a couple people, I'm going to keep training people, or even get my managers and look at managing people, because 10 years in the sport, 99 fights, it's a lot of experience. It would be a bit of a shame to just waste it, but at the same time, I don't want to get pressured into just doing things that I don't really want to do. And I work as well, I've got a family, so it's just hard to get that balance between everything. And I'm sure when I retire, my missus is going to be like, right, that's it then, now we can just live a normal life and you'll be at home every night or whatever. So it's just trying to keep everyone happy along with myself, and not get pressured into doing things I genuinely don't want to do. So I think I'll just step back away from it for a little bit and then decide, am I missing it? And if I am missing it, what do I want to do with it? Managing or training, or even just, staying in the gym for a bit. I'm not sure. I'll just have to wait and see. I need to get my final fight out of the way, get Christmas out of the way, and then take it from there after that.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
What for your Christmas dinner then, mate?
Christmas dinner? Well, it's my lad's birthday the day before Christmas Eve, so we've got that to deal with. Then my missus, she's Mexican originally, so her mum and her celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve as they do in Mexico.
Right.
So then we're going to go to her mum's for some Christmas food. I don't know if that'll be Mexican Christmassy food or not, like it is sometimes. And then just cook a Christmas dinner at mine, nut roast or one of these fake chicken Wellington things or something. I don't mind cooking Christmas dinner.
We'll bob around for something to eat one day, Scarfe.
Yeah. I've had them a few. I know this is completely random, but Quorn do these things. They're like textures like chicken.
Yeah, like a fake joint of meat or
brilliant.
something. Yeah,
absolutely. Honestly, they're always sold out at Morrison's.
Yeah, Don loves them. Don loves them. Don has them more than anything.
Yeah,
it's definitely the future, mate, isn't it?
It is the future because most people, I think, if you ask them, they would agree that cruelty to animals is bad. And, meat, dairy, eggs, you can't get those without cruelty to animals. It's just we shove it to one side and keep it out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. But, if there's a way of getting the same sort of taste and nutrition without it, then why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? So I think it is the future, whether that be lab-grown meat that I've heard about. Not that I'd be a big fan of that, but obviously if you could grow the meat without
I heard something about that this week, I think.
Without the animal that's got a brain to think, I don't want to die, and then it gets killed anyway. If you can just grow the meat without the animal, why not, But that's if you consider meat as necessary anyway, which obviously I've lived 6.5 years without it and I'm fine, so...
It's not that I'd struggle with, it's beer, isn't it? Because with filtration process and what have you.
Yeah, but I think a lot since...
Some of them are doing vegan beer,
now they've changed. Like even some companies that did use that sort of filtration system, they'll realise that they're going to lose money if they can't be there for, people who are vegan and whatever. So they've just changed. And I think that's what will happen. Companies will change to make either vegan products or take out little things that they don't really need to make it accessible to everyone then.
I knew Scarfe would be interested in that.
Yeah, most lagers are fine. Pretty much all spirits. Yeah. It's just wines that are more. Some of them have egg in and.
Really? I didn't know that.
Egg. It says on bottle that egg. Strange, but yeah, there's plenty of beers and spirits. They're easy to come by vegan, which is good because I'm sure I'll be having plenty of that after I retire.
You've earned it, mate.
Scarfe will tell you which best tipples are.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to ask, mate? Carry on.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'd just like to say I've had 3 trainers throughout my career, so I just appreciate the effort and time all those guys have put in. Andy Marlowe I had to begin with for my first 25 fights, which seemed like a bigger chunk of my career, because I wasn't as busy back then, and I was trying in all my fights, like he said recently, it broke his heart seeing me like put everything into a fight and not getting given rounds and just fighting where I'm just hurting myself really, just being there to get it. And then after that I went to Robbie Sivia, who's in Chesterfield, again not far from me. I'm good friends with him now. I still pop in once a week or whatever and see him at his gym. I don't know how many I had with him, maybe 50. And then, finishing with Roger Sampson, Carl Sampson's dad, that I've known for years. He's a good trainer in Sheffield, one of the best. He's got loads of good prospects in his gym. So, most of his people he trains aren't journeymen. He's just got me and Cass Hussein knocks around that gym. Yeah, not that he does much training, but yeah, he's at his gym. And Roger Sampson is a top bloke and a top trainer.
Yeah, he told me off when I come to your gym.
Who did?
Roger.
What did he say?
Said, what are you doing coming in interviewing me when I've got all this talent here? What's the one thing for? Pointing to his son.
Yeah, giving us the attention. I don't think he was very happy about Carl going on the road, and I think Carl's seen that he's looking at these prospects that might be boxing, 3 or 4 times a year, struggling to get fights and then struggling to sell tickets. And then he's looking at me boxing every week, every other week and getting paid and just, doing it for the fun of doing it. And I think he just saw that side and realised that if he was going to box again, it was going to be on the road, you know, and his dad might not have been keen on it to begin with, but I think he's shown that, you know, if you're willing to stay in shape and keep turning up and not getting hurt, then, you know, he's doing a good job.
Listen, Carl's amateur pedigree speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You don't get many journeymen that's won what's Carl. I mean, one to you. He's done a good job. I can't remember exactly what he's won at amateur.
Can't remember what he had, but he had like 40 odd, and you know, I don't know how many he lost. He maybe lost 15 or so. I don't know exactly, but yeah, he did well. But then since then, you know, he's a plasterer. He's grown into a man. He's got kids, and I think sometimes when people mature outside of boxing, it helps them box, you know, with the boxing, because then you're just a more mature person. You're able to deal with like disappointment and things being tough and hard, and I think that's part of it, you know.
Yeah, it's a good, and you have got a couple of prospects in that manner, Jim, haven't you? And you've got Shaquille Thompson.
Shaquille Thompson, yeah. He boxed on Sky the other day.
Yeah,
I don't know if his fight was shown, but it was good.
I've seen I think you put the highlights on.
Yeah, and he's looking for you know 50-50 fights and titles and fights against names, but it's hard to match him, you know, because he's not a big name, but he's a very good fighter, a tall southpaw who wants to box that, you know what I mean? So it's not easy for him. And then there's Dante Dixon and Sheldon McDonald. There's a few. Yeah,
you sparred all these, mate.
Yeah, I mean, someone like Shaquille Thompson, I sparred him when he was 15, actually, because he was a southpaw. And when I was getting prepared for Campbell fight, I asked Roger Sampson, who I know of, you know, I said, have you got anyone there southpaw for me to spar for this fight? So he was putting Shaq in for a round and someone else in for a round to keep them fresh, and I was getting tired. And it was tough for me then, you know. He was only a kid, but he was sharp and fast. And now he's like shot up, and you should see his physique, you know. So they'd be pointless me sparring him now. I'd just get hurt. But Dante's a smaller guy. I can spar him, you know. But I don't spar much anyway, do I? You know, I'm fighting regular enough not to have to spar.
Well, I hope you stay in the sport, Lee, in some... Obviously, your missus is in charge, as we all know. I know Dawn's in charge of me, and if it's not, it's George. But, you know, hopefully you'll stay... You've got so much knowledge to pass on, Lee.
Yeah.
And I wish you the best luck for next Sunday. And all the best going forward, mate. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Brilliant. Yeah,
all the best, mate.
It's been good, yeah. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
The Journeyman Cave is produced by Ryan Carrier. Music by Ryan Carrier. Special thanks to Rhythm Inc. Studios for hosting. All views expressed are of the guests only. The Journeyman Cave and host bear no responsibility for any opinions given. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter @The Journeyman Cave.